So I'm Ruben Gersons. I'm the CTO and also co-founder of Screen6, and we do cross-device identity management. Now, if you don't know what that is, I will explain this very soon. So we live in a multi-screen world, right? We all have tons of devices. I think it's on average 4 devices owned by one person. That may be even an outdated stat. It will go up, or probably already is up. Laptops, tablets, phones, game consoles, TVs. All of these devices allow you to show products, to show your brand to consumers, and they also allow you to collect information about the consumers. But which of those devices belong to the same person? Right? We see all of these devices in the marketing data, but we don't know yet which ones belong to the same user. And the reason for this is that marketing events, site visits, are recorded using so-called pseudo-identifiers, cookies, device IDs, other types of identifiers. And these identifiers are tied to a device or to a specific browser, to a specific app, but not to a person. So what we do at Screen6, and what cross-device vendors do, is discern which devices actually belong together, which belong to the same person. Now, why is this important? Why do we want to know this? Well, let's take this guy, let's call him Jack. And Jack wants to buy a car, and that will obviously make him extremely happy. So he may get inspired for a certain brand or a certain model by seeing an ad on TV. He may look for pricing or some other specifications or stuff on his phone. And finally, he takes his laptop, configures the car, books a test drive, and in the end, purchases the car. Now, I don't think this is a very rare customer journey. I think this happens a lot. But if you don't know that these devices all belong to Jack, that they belong to the same person, you get a very fragmented view of the customer journey. If you do know that all of these devices belong to one person, you get the complete view of the journey and the path to conversion. Another example is about profile data, right? It's very important for everyone in the automotive industry. If you're marketing cars, right? It's the key thing that drives to a car purchase, right? If you're young, you're old, you have a high income, you have almost no money to spend, you're in business, whatever. It all drives to which model you're going to buy. Now, marketing data, there's tons of it, but it's fragmented. Because you may know on a laptop that the laptop belongs to a user with high income, and a phone may belong to a business user. And maybe you have a laptop that belongs to somebody with a buying intention for a car. But if you know that these 3 devices belong to the same user, then you have a really good profile. So advertisers, marketers need to know which devices belong to the same person. So how do we do this? How can you know that these devices belong together? Well, there's 2 types of what we call cross-device matching. One is deterministic. This means you have a clear data point somewhere that will tell you laptop, what is it? Tablet, same person, right? Most of the case, it will be somebody logging into your website, using the same email address on both devices. Well, then it's an easy match, right? You know that these 2 belong together. The other method is called probabilistic matching. And this is what we do at Screen6, and this is also what we do for IgnitionOne. Probabilistic matching looks at a lot of data, all the marketing data, site visit data, and tries to find patterns in the data that will give us, with a very high accuracy, indication that devices belong together. For example, one pattern that we typically see is if you have a phone and you have a laptop and you carry this device from home to work every day, this creates a pattern. We call it the commuter pattern. So two types of cross-device matching. One is deterministic, the other one is probabilistic. Now, deterministic matching is very accurate. It's 98% accurate. It's not 100%. That's often a misconception. For example, you may use different logins on two devices. Your personal email address on one device, your business address on another one. Or maybe Facebook, I don't know why, but my wife is constantly looking at my Facebook account, but she's not me, right? So it's not 100% accurate, but it is very accurate. But the problem is scale. Deterministic doesn't scale. There's almost nobody that has enough cross-device logins or data points that gives them enough scale to have any cross-device benefit. And another drawback is it requires PII, right? You need those email addresses, you need a name, you need something on both devices to tie them together. So probabilistic, it's a little bit less accurate, but it's still very accurate. So we are verified at 94%, which is, I'd say, plenty accurate, but it scales really well. So you can match almost any device together. And we don't require PII, which I think nowadays is a pretty good thing. So matching these devices creates what is called a device graph. A device graph lists devices that belong together. So these three devices, they all have one or more pseudo-identifiers, cookies, device IDs, and when we run our algorithms, we will decide they all belong together, and we will assign what we call a match ID. It's kind of a person ID, right? So it basically says person A has these pseudo-identifiers. And then the graph will contain billions of these match IDs, all with their corresponding identifiers. There's another level of cross-device matching. It has to do with households. So some devices, smart TVs, family tablets, they don't belong to one individual, right? They belong to a family. So it wouldn't be fair to attribute them to one of the family members. So what we do is we tie them to a household. And actually we tie all the devices that belong in a household together. And we can do this also very accurately. And we verified this by looking at the one device that people don't carry outside of the house, which is the smart TV. Except for this guy. I don't think it's a smart TV, actually. So let's look at some use cases. First of all, reach. I think it's still one of the most important metrics in advertising. But if you're counting reach, if you're computing reach by only counting all those identifiers, all those cookies, all those device IDs, all those devices, you will get a much inflated reach figure. Right? This is actually how we started the company. We saw an advertising campaign in the Netherlands that had reached, I think, 85 million people. Well, there's only 17 million people living in the Netherlands, and that's including babies. So if you count match IDs instead, you will get what we call true reach, so the actual reach across devices. Frequency, right, this is the flip side of reach. If you are better able to count how frequent a person sees an ad or interacts with your brand, you're also better able to control frequency and hence also reduce waste. Targeting, right? If you run a targeted campaign, you start with a user segment. I don't know, some profiles that you want to present your marketing message to. These profiles are typically stored also on the pseudo-identifiers, which means you can only reach your target audience by only at the moment when you see them on the same device that you collected the information on. However, if you apply a device graph, you can reach the people across all their devices, right? So you have information on the laptop, you can reach somebody on the phone. Or you can even amplify the audience further and include the family members. Site optimization, well, I'm sure any car brand today has a personalized website, right? So if you know something about the visitor, you will serve a different landing page, a different experience than if you don't know the person. So it's important that you know the person that's coming to your website in any case possible. So not just on one device, but with all devices. And finally, conversion attribution. If you don't have any cross-device knowledge, you cannot link your conversions to all the touch points, all the marketing touch points leading up to that conversion. Only the touch points done with the same device will be attributed to that conversion, right? So in this case, only the laptops are being matched, right? Where the same user was actually also looking at your brand with this phone. Also, some conversions today may seem to come out of nowhere, where actually there was already interaction with the same person, but just on a different device. So here, applying a cross-device identity graph can help you. So we've done a case study recently with one of our clients with a premium car brand, and their goal was to get as many test drives as possible. They applied some user segmentation, luxury cars, business professionals, etc. First, they amplified this audience across device, so maximum reach for this audience. And then at the end, they looked at the uplift that they got by applying the device graph. And they saw a lot more conversions, so they were able to attribute a lot more conversions, 24%. And also their return on ad spend went down, 30%, because of waste reduction. So we talked about phones and laptops and tablets and TVs, right? But what about this screen, right? What do we know about this? I'm going to tell a little bit of a fun story about it, but it's also interesting. By the way, if you think this screen is big, I came across this concept from Volvo. Actually, also the Peugeot concept, pretty big screens. So one of our sales reps in the US was going to participate in a pub crawl in New Orleans. And he received, this was for some event, and he received an email from the organization with the names of the people in his pub crawl party. He was going through the list, and then at the end saw that Elon Musk was in his group. So, excitement, of course, also slight panic. And he started thinking like, well, what will I say to Elon Musk, right? I'm a sales rep for Screen 6. What can I say? Is there something that Elon Musk doesn't know yet and that I do know? So he called our tech office in Amsterdam pretty late at night and asked us, do we have anything on Tesla cars? Do we have any Tesla cars in the data? So we said, well, no, probably not, right? We have marketing data. Our data comes from ad campaigns, sites visits. How can we have Tesla cars in there? But we started to look at the data anyway, and it turned out we did have Tesla cars in the data. Quite a few of them, actually. And we already had matched these Tesla cars to the phones and laptops of the owners. That's pretty exciting. So we produced this graph. And this is a graph based on marketing data. So no IoT data or in-car data. No, this is marketing data. And one of the lines is the car. Can you guess which color it is? There's no free Amazon gifts for me, sorry. Blue, yeah, it's the blue one. You can clearly see the morning commute, the lunchtime, and the evening commute. By the way, the other ones are also funny to see. Have a look at the red one. I hope you can see it. It's game consoles. They peak around midnight, and they don't go to bed. Some are, they don't sleep. That's just game. Whatever. So there you have it. The car is no longer just a device for mobility. It's also becoming an emerging platform for presenting content, advertising, and also generating data that can tell you more about your customers. So that's it. By the way, Elon Musk, he never showed up. Thank you.